So Meghan Markle is upset that at one point she was treated like a bimbo while she was part of Deal or No Deal as a briefcase girl, and that she had to wear a padded bra, and all of this made her feel just less intelligent, and she had a brain and she wanted to use it. Now, I completely understand her sentiment. What I have an issue with, though, is that she didn't really live up to her own hype in this episode. Even when she actually started getting actual acting roles, a lot of them were basically as the sex symbol in whatever part. And sometimes she simulated oral sex. She, had a pretty graphic, I would say, sex screen on screen for Suits. So I'm kind of wondering, well, if you didn't want to be treated like a bimbo and as a sex symbol, then why did you take parts that were only that? And in order to avoid that, I think the best thing for Meghan to have done is to actually take acting seriously, actually perfect her craft. That's how people who maybe kind of get into that bimbo kind of mold, that's how they break out of that, is that everybody starts to see them as really fantastic, either actors or singers and those sorts of things. And so they can really kind of change that mindset. And I also feel like when it comes to Paris Hilton very much leaned into kind of that bimbo mentality that people had of her. And granted, I don't think it is true. I think she's quite intelligent. But at the same time, that's what she's really driven towards, and that's what she's shown to people. And that's how the public perceives her now. And so the way to actually adjust that and to avoid that is actually to have addressed it earlier rather than addressing it now going, I really am smart. So this was one of Meghan's comments. Obviously, you can't see the whole thing, but she talks about how she was objectified on stage and she didn't want that anymore. It's like, well, then you were objectified on Suits, so I don't really see the difference. What I also kind of found kind of weird about this whole interaction is that Meghan talked about Lilibet and Lily wanting to make sure she got a good education. It's like, I completely understand that as a parent, but it's like, but you had a good education. Meghan's almost acting like she didn't have a good education. Therefore, she had to objectify herself in order to get work. Meghan was highly educated at Northwestern, apparently. So why is she acting like all of a sudden she did have the opportunity to go to school like so many other people? I think that's a really interesting question. And honestly, as well, if you really want your kid to have a good education, I would tell you to get out of Hollywood. Get out of that Hollywood area. Even though you're in Montecito, you're still kind of in that ilk. And a lot of those kids end up going into acting because that's all they know. And education is not prized highly in some of the circles you're in California. And finally, if you really don't want to be objectified, Meghan, then don't do scenes like this. This ended up on Pornhub. People put this up there. So you really only have, I think, yourself to blame to a certain extent. Hollywood is very much like that, but you can make the choice not to do it. It's up to you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.